Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News, an Indian perspective on All India Radio. This is Saira Mujtaba, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India rejects China's objections to its Home Minister Amit Shah's visit to Arunachal Pradesh, says Arunachal Pradesh will always remain an integral part of the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi urges people to visit border villages to acquaint with different cultures and experience their hospitality. American firepower on display as United States and Philippines begin largest joint military drills in decades near the disputed South China Sea. Japan awards Mitsubishi heavy $2.8 billion missile contracts amid China's threat. Britain braces for unparalleled disruption in healthcare services as junior doctors go on strike. South Korea wildfire forces 500 residents to evacuate as rain helps fight blaze. And IMF says prolonged high inflation dims outlook for world economy, warns perilous phase for global economy. And now the news in detail. India's Ministry of External Affairs has reiterated that Arunachal Pradesh is an integral and inalienable part of the country. Responding to the Chinese official spokesperson's comments on the recent visit of Home Minister Amit Shah to Arunachal Pradesh, the Ministry of External Affairs rejected the comments made by the Chinese spokesperson. Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said on Tuesday, Indian leaders routinely travel to the state of Arunachal Pradesh as they do to any other state of the country. He said Arunachal Pradesh was, is and will always remain an integral and inalienable part of the country. He said objecting to such visits does not stand to reason and will not change the reality. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged the people, especially the youth, to visit border villages. Lauding the initiatives taken under the Vibrant Villages program, Mr. Modi said it would acquaint the country's youth with different cultures and give them an opportunity to experience the hospitality of those living there. Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Monday launched the Vibrant Villages program in Arunachal Pradesh. The Vibrant Villages program will be implemented in 19 districts, 46 blocks and 2,963 villages across the country, especially in border areas. In the first phase, 11 districts, 23 blocks and 1,451 villages will be included with a cost of 4,800 crore rupees. The Prime Minister also appreciated the initiatives launched by Home Minister Amit Shah in Arunachal Pradesh. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, these developmental works will improve the quality of life for people living in remote parts of Arunachal Pradesh. On Monday, Mr. Shah had launched 9 mini micro hydroelectric projects along with a plethora of schemes initiated by the Indo-Tibetan Border Police at Kibithu in Arunachal Pradesh. Home Minister Amit Shah on Tuesday said that the Northeast has achieved tremendous progress under Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Addressing a rally at Dibrugarh in Assam, the Home Minister said that Afwa has been removed from 70% of areas in Assam. He said that several militant groups have signed peace treaties with the government in the state. He said that in the recently concluded assembly polls in 3 northeastern states, BJP retained power with the people's mandate. Mr. Shah said that Mr. Narendra Modi will become the Prime Minister for the third time in 2024. He said the Prime Minister will witness Bihu performance in Guwahati on the 14th of this month, along with inaugurating several projects including AIIMS. India's Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari on Tuesday inaugurated the Pira Confer Tunnel at Ramban of Jammu and Kashmir. Our Jammu correspondent reports the Union Minister said 4 more tunnels on Ramban-Banihal stretch of the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway will be completed by next March, and additional other tunnel is also to start soon. He said with these tunnels, the distance between Jammu-Srinagar will be completed in about 3.5 hours. The 924-meter-long Tube 1 of the Pira Confer Tunnel would bypass 2.9 kilometers congested, zigzag and accident-prone area between Nashri and Ramban. The tunnel is a part of the ongoing 4-lane project of the National Highways Authority of India between Udhampur and Ramgarh on the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway. The tunnel will reduce the 2.9 kilometer distance national highways and it would provide huge relief to the passengers travelling in the Ramban district on the national highway. However, the work on the second tube, T2, of the Pira-Cunfer tunnel was also in progress, and only 50 to 100 meters of excavation work was pending on the second tube. Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari also inspected the Srinagar-Banihal section of the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway in order to provide all-weather connectivity between Jammu and Srinagar. Union Minister for Development of the Northeast Region G. Kishan Reddy on Tuesday inspected the Agartala-Akhara new rail link project at soon-to-be operational Nishchintpur railway station. Speaking after meeting with Union Minister of State for Social Justice and Empowerment, Pratima Bhaumik, State Minister Sushant Chaudhary, and officials of ERCON, the company which is implementing the project, the Honourable Minister said that the rail link project from Agartala to Akhara will bolster the bilateral ties between India and Bangladesh. Mr. Reddy said this rail line is strategic in nature as India believes in further enhancing the ties with Bangladesh. The minister also said that trade between the two countries will be strengthened with the operationalization of this rail link project. Defence Minister of India Rajnath Singh has said that the country's armed forces are capable enough to counter every situation apart from their duties at the border. He said, "The Indian armed forces are the best example in the world for their commitment and discipline." Mr. Singh was addressing the ex-servicemen of armed forces in the Kendriya Sainik Board meeting held in New Delhi on Tuesday. The minister lauded the ex-servicemen's selfless effort to serve the society during the COVID pandemic. Indian Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has said that India will become the third largest economy by 2027. He said India is a $3.5 trillion economy today and will become a $30 to $35 trillion economy by 2047, when it will also celebrate 100 years of its independence. Mr. Goyal said this while addressing the Indian diaspora in Paris on Monday. The minister said India crossed $750 billion in exports in the 75th year of independence. He said India is emerging as the go-to country, as the world's pharmacy, as the world's food bowl, and as a trusted partner to other countries. The Director General of Civil Aviation of India has issued an advisory to airlines on unruly behavior by passengers during flight operations. Head of operations of all airlines have been advised to sensitize their pilots, cabin crew, and post holders on handling of unruly passengers through appropriate means. The regulator said incidents such as smoking in aircraft, consumption of alcoholic beverages resulting in unruly behavior, altercations between passengers, and sometimes inappropriate touching or sexual harassment. The regulator said such incidents have potential of compromising the safety of aircraft operations. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is on a 3-day visit to Uganda, met President Yoweri K. Museveni at his farm in Rwakitura on Monday. He congratulated Uganda on assuming the chairship of the non-aligned movement. In a tweet, Dr. Jaishankar said he conveyed to Mr. Museveni the personal greetings of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Dr. Jaishankar also discussed cooperation in trade and investment, infrastructure, energy, defense, health, digital and agricultural domains. Dr. Jaishankar participated in the launch at Kampala of the Tulsi Ghat Restoration Project in Varanasi. He appreciated OFBJP Uganda's initiative to contribute to further beautify the oldest living city in the world. The second Women 20 International meeting will be held in India's Rajasthan on 13th and 14th April 2023. Guests have started arriving at Rajasthan's capital city, Jaipur, to attend the Women 20 meeting. They were accorded a grand welcome at the Jaipur airport with Rajasthani traditions. The event will commence on the April of 12th with Jan Bhagidari or People's Participation, the women's journey of women empowerment. India's Minister of State for Culture, Arjun Ram Meghwal, is the chief guest of the event. The Women 20 meeting will bring together 120 women leaders from across 18 G20 countries to address gender inequality issues and promote women's economic empowerment globally. The meeting will focus on the theme of women-led development, leverage women's untapped potential to accelerate inclusive and sustainable future. India's W20 agenda focuses on 5 key priorities: women's entrepreneurship, grassroots women's leadership, bridging the gender digital divide, education and skill development, and climate change. Finance Minister of India Nirmala Sitharaman has said that India is focusing on skilling and digitization so that there is greater ease of living, transparency and formalization of the economy. She said India is attractive because of its skilled youth and large domestic market. Ms. Sitharaman said this at a function at Peterson's Institute for International Economics on the sidelines of the Spring Meetings 2023 in Washington, D.C. on Monday. She said India is poised for a more important role in the global value chain. And now in today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary on Union Finance Minister's official visit to the United States.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is in the United States on an official visit. During her visit, the Finance Minister will be attending the 2023 Spring Meetings of the World Bank Group and the International Monetary Fund (IMF), along with the G20 meetings. The Spring Meetings are to be attended by the Finance Ministers and central bankers from across the world. The investor and bilateral meetings are taking place from the 10th to the 16th of April 2023. The delegation is led by the Union Minister for Finance and comprises officials from the Ministry of Finance and the RBI. During the official visit, a meeting of the Global Sovereign Debt Roundtable will be co-chaired by India, International Monetary Fund and the World Bank on the 12th of April 2023 to discuss the current global debt landscape and ways to address existing challenges in debt restructuring. On the 14th of April 2023, a high-level seminar on macro-financial implications of crypto assets will be held to review the macro-financial implications of crypto assets and discuss policies to leverage benefits and contain risks. Ms. Sitharaman will also meet the G20 expert group on strengthening multilateral development banks on the 15th of April 2023 to discuss the need for an updated multilateral development banks ecosystem for the 21st century towards financing sustainable development goals and transboundary challenges. The Finance Minister will also participate in a high-level seminar on stacking up the benefits of digital public infrastructure organized by the IMF on the 14th of April 2023. The seminar aims to discuss lessons from India and other countries on the transformational power of digital public infrastructure and ways to maximize its potential. On the sidelines of the spring annual meetings, the Finance Minister will have bilateral engagements with her respective counterparts from G20 countries and heads of other delegations, including major international organizations, to discuss issues and areas of mutual interest and cooperation under India's G20 presidency. Finance Minister Ms. Sitharaman and Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikanta Das will jointly chair the second G20 Finance Ministers and Central Bank Governors FMCBG meeting on the 12th and 13th of April 2023. Around 350 delegates from G20 members, 13 invitee countries, and various international and regional organizations will participate and engage in multilateral discussions centered around a broad spectrum of pressing global issues. The second G20 FMCBG meeting will comprise 3 sessions. The first is on the global economy and international financial architecture. The second session will be on sustainable finance, financial sector and financial inclusion, and the third session is on international taxation. The focus of these sessions will be to deliberate on issues such as addressing food and energy insecurity, managing global debt vulnerabilities, strengthening multilateral development banks, mobilizing finance for climate action, advancing financial inclusion, and accelerating progress on international tax and financial sector issues. The meeting will take stock of the progress made on outcomes envisaged under India's G20 Finance Track agenda. The second G20 FMCBG meeting will advance efforts towards the preparation of G20 India Finance Track deliverables for the third G20 FMCBG meeting to be held in Gandhinagar, Gujarat in July 2023. These meetings are expected to provide informed finance track contributions to the leaders' declaration set for adoption in the New Delhi summit in September 2023.
That was our hotspot section, and now in some more news. The High Commission of India in Bangladesh hosted an iftar at Dhaka on Tuesday. The event was attended by distinguished guests from all walks of life in Bangladesh, including the government, legislature, political parties, armed forces, civil society, business, academia, media and culture. Welcoming the distinguished invitees, India's High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Pranay Verma, highlighted the significance of iftar in promoting the spirit of humanity and brotherhood. He underlined the deep bonds of friendship and cooperation between India and Bangladesh. He reaffirmed the commitment to further enrich the special and multifaceted ties between the two countries, which are rooted in the shared sacrifices of 1971. Thanking the High Commission of India for organizing the iftar, State Minister for Religious Affairs of Bangladesh, Muhammad Faridul Haq Khan, MP, said that Bangladesh and India are time-tested and trusted friends. Both the countries have common cultural, historical and social backgrounds. Acknowledging the contribution of India in the liberation war of Bangladesh, Minister Faridul Haq said that the foundation of the bilateral relationship between the two countries was laid by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has further strengthened the relationship between the two countries with new dimensions of development and cooperation, said Faridul Haq. The United Nations mission in Afghanistan has asked its staff and deployed in the country not to come to the office until May the 5th. The UN has also launched a review of its operations in Afghanistan. The move comes after the Taliban barred its female workers from attending office. On 5th April, United Nations asked its over 3,000 staff in Afghanistan to not come to work after the Taliban authorities signaled that they would enforce a ban on Afghan women working for the world body. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric said that its officials in Afghanistan received the word of an order by the de facto authorities that ban female national staff members of the UN from working. This is All India Radio giving you the world news. Welcome back. You're listening to World News. US President Joe Biden is set to arrive in Belfast, the capital of Northern Ireland, Tuesday night to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. He will be greeted by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak when he arrives in Belfast. Mr. Biden's visit, which will be followed by a longer trip to the Republic of Ireland, comes on the heels of a new UK-EU deal covering post-Brexit trading rules for Northern Ireland known as the Windsor Framework. The main event will be on Wednesday when Mr. Biden officially gives a key address at the new Ulster University campus in Belfast. White House spokesperson John Kirby said that Mr. Biden is very much looking forward to going to Belfast despite recent security concerns. Mr. Kirby said that President Biden cares deeply about Northern Ireland and has a long history of supporting peace and prosperity there. Mr. Biden, who often speaks proudly of his Irish roots, will also spend time in the Irish Republic, where he will visit Dublin and his two ancestral homes. The Good Friday Agreement, signed on 10th April 1998, largely ended 3 decades of sectarian bloodshed that had convulsed Northern Ireland since the late 1960s. The island of Ireland comprises the Republic of Ireland, which is a sovereign country, and Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom. The United States and the Philippines on Tuesday launched their largest combat exercises in decades that will involve live fire drills, including a boat-sinking rocket assault in waters across the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait that is likely to inflame China. The annual drills by the longtime treaty allies, called Balikatan Tagalog for Shoulder to Shoulder, will run up to 28th of April and involve more than 17,600 military personnel. It will be the latest display of American firepower in Asia, where Washington has repeatedly warned China over its increasingly aggressive actions in the disputed Sea Channel and against Taiwan. The Biden administration has been strengthening an arc of alliances in the Indo-Pacific to better counter China, including in a possible confrontation over Taiwan. Taiwan on Tuesday claimed that Chinese warplanes and naval ships were still in the waters around the island nation. Taiwanese Defense Ministry's claim came a day after China announced the conclusion of its military drill around the island. Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen criticized Beijing for its irresponsible behavior. Taiwan's Defense Ministry said it had spotted 9 Chinese ships and 26 aircraft holding combat readiness patrols around the island. It said that Taiwan's Air Force, Navy and shore-based missile crews are keeping a close tab on the movements of Chinese activities. China held a 3-day-long military drill around Taiwan after Tsai Ing-wen returned to Taipei following a meeting with U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Kevin McCarthy. While Taiwan has denounced Chinese drills, Taipei had maintained that it will not escalate or provoke. In the wake of a growing threat from China, Japan has awarded its largest defense equipment maker, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, contracts worth $2.84 billion to develop and build a new missile force. The land, sea and air-launched missile force is aimed at deterring China from using military force in the region. Japan's Ministry of Defense said in a statement that it plans to deploy these missiles, including a hypersonic ballistic warhead, from 2026. The new missile force will be capable of striking targets over a distance of 1,000 kilometers. Britain is witnessing another unprecedented strike in the healthcare sector. Junior doctors in Britain on Tuesday began a 4-day-long strike demanding a pay hike at par with inflation. Junior doctors are physicians who make up nearly half of Britain's medical workforce. Their strike is likely to cause unprecedented disruption to the government-funded National Health Service, popularly known as NHS. According to NHS officials, around 350,000 patient appointments are likely to be cancelled during the 4-day strike. The NHS staff played a crucial role during the COVID-19 pandemic and are claiming that they are underpaid and are unable to meet their needs with inflation running at over 10%. North Korea's Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un has called upon his army to bolster its war deterrence. According to reports, Kim Jong-un termed it a more practical and offensive strategy to counter what North Korea views as moves of aggression by the United States and South Korea. The North Korean leader also vowed to enhance his nuclear arsenal significantly. According to state media outlet KCNA, Kim made his latest comments on Monday at a meeting of the Central Military Commission, where he urged army chiefs to boost their forces to cope with the alleged escalating moves of the US imperialists and South Korea to unleash a war of aggression. North Korea has been angered by the ongoing joint military drills between the United States and South Korea. South Korean and American forces have conducted annual springtime exercises since March, including air and sea drills involving a US aircraft carrier and amphibious landing operations. The drills have been the largest in 5 years and follow an unprecedented spate of North Korean missile tests. In South Korea, over 500 people have been evacuated from their homes in Gangneung City as strong winds fanned a wildfire on Tuesday. While the firefighters were struggling to put out the fast-moving blaze, rain tamped it down, preventing further spread. According to officials, the fire started in the morning and was mostly extinguished by the evening. However, fire consumed 170 hectares of land, forcing evacuation of some 550 residents in the city of more than 2 lakh people. According to the Korea Forest Service, the fire killed 1 and injured 3 people, including 2 firefighters. Dozens of buildings also got destroyed due to the massive blaze. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol had ordered officials to mobilize all available resources to minimize casualties. In Russia, one of the country's most active volcanoes erupted on Kamchatka Peninsula on Tuesday. The eruption from Sheveluch volcano led to a vast cloud of ash high into the sky, smothering villages in drifts of volcanic dust. Russia was quick to issue an aviation warning for flights. Ash cloud reached as far as 108,000 square kilometers. According to the Kamchatka branch of the Geophysical Center of the Russian Academy of Sciences, lava flows tumbled from the volcano. Nearby villages were carpeted in drifts of grey ash as deep as 8.5 centimeters. With a view to foster and develop a green finance ecosystem in the country, the Reserve Bank of India has put in place a framework for acceptance of green deposits. In a statement, RBI has said that the financial sector can play a pivotal role in mobilizing and allocation of resources of green activities projects. As per the framework, entities regulated by RBI can accept green deposits from customers, and the proceeds shall be allocated for projects undertaken in sectors like renewable energy, energy efficiency, promoting climate resilience, and improvement of natural ecosystems and biodiversity. The International Monetary Fund on Tuesday said that prolonged high inflation has dimmed the outlook for the world economy. It said that chronically high inflation, rising interest rates, and uncertainties resulting from the collapse of two big American banks led to the dimmed outlook. The IMF also downgraded its outlook for global economic growth for 2023 to 2.8%, down from 2.9% as estimated in January this year. It further warned of a sharp rise in the possibility of a hard landing. The hard landing refers to a rise in interest rates that weaken growth so much as to cause a recession. The IMF said that these conditions are also increasing the risk to global financial stability. The IMF is forecasting 7% global inflation this year, up from its January forecast of 6.6% for 2023. Key domestic stocks today ended with gains of more than 0.5%. The BSE Sensex closed above the 60,100 level, while the NSE Nifty settled above 17,700 points in India. Both benchmark indices gained amid positive global cues. A report from the Indian Business Desk.
The Sensex rose 311 points or 0.52% to finish at 60,158, while the Nifty at the National Stock Exchange gained 98 points or 0.56% to settle at 17,722. Most Asian markets ended with gains except China's Shanghai Composite Index, which declined 0.1%. South Korea's Kospi Index rose 1.4%, while Japan's Nikkei 225 climbed 1%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng gained 0.8%. And Singapore's Straits Times Index added 0.1%. European markets were also trading in positive territory in intraday trade. Oil prices steadied as Chinese inflation data pointed to persistently weak demand, but a softer dollar, and hopes that the Federal Reserve might ease up on its policy tightening. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at around $84 per barrel. Back home, gold price at Multi-Commodity Exchange for June contracts was trading at around 60,490 rupees per 10 gram. Silver was trading at around 74,800 rupees per kilogram for May contracts. Anubha Rohatgi for World News, All India Radio.
In Indian Premier League, Mumbai Indians were 143 for 3 wickets in 16.2 overs against Delhi Capitals at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in Delhi a short while ago. Earlier, Mumbai won the toss and elected to field. Delhi Capitals set a target of 173 runs as Mumbai Indians bowled them out in 19.2 overs. And now let's take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Guardian writes, barbaric attacks leave 44 civilians dead in Burkina Faso. The New York Times reports Florida's Governor DeSantis pushes toughest immigration crackdown in the nation. The Globe and Mail reports China's military says it is ready to fight after conducting drills near Taiwan. The Globe and Mail also reports Pentagon termed leaked documents a very serious risk to security. The Straits Times reports Malaysia plans $8.5 billion port to keep up with regional rivals. Financial Times writes top IMF official warns of acute risk in global financial system. The Wall Street Journal reports U.S. deems journalist Ivan Gershkovich wrongfully detained by Russia. And Le Monde writes, UN chief says Somalia is in massive need of international support. And now a quick look at the headlines once again. India rejects China's objections to its Home Minister Amit Shah's visit to Arunachal Pradesh, says Arunachal Pradesh will always remain an integral part of the country. Prime Minister Modi urges people to visit border villages to acquaint with different cultures and experience their hospitality. American firepower on display as US and Philippines begin largest joint military drills in decades near the disputed South China Sea. Japan awards Mitsubishi Heavy $2.8 billion missile contracts amid Chinese threat. Britain braces for unparalleled disruption in healthcare services as junior doctors go on strike. South Korea wildfire forces 500 residents to evacuate as rain helps fight the blaze. And IMF says prolonged high inflation dims outlook for world economy, warns perilous phase for global economy. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from the Netherlands. And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.